I'd like to welcome back Rebecca Siegel to Simply Wellbeing. Rebecca is a registered psychologist and specialises in a whole range of issues, including relationships, anxiety, depression and stress. However, we're going to be talking today about body image and how it affects our lives. So Rebecca also on the side assesses people whether they're psychologically a good candidate for plastic surgery, and she helps people with a wide range of body image issues also. So that's quite interesting, I couldn't imagine. So thanks for speaking with us again,
Thanks
Rebecca.
for having me back again.
It's a pleasure. I just think body image is such an important topic, and I've spoken to a plus size model about it on the show before, and I just think it's something that affects so many people in their life, both male and female, and can strike at any age really. So why do you think so many people have body image issues?
There's a lot of reasons that we could say. I mean, I think typically we think of the media and we typically think of, models and advertising as being probably these unhealthy influences, but I think it goes way beyond that. Some of the influences are a lot more subtle. They're the way that we grow up in our houses. They're the families that we look at our older siblings and they're on a diet, or they're not eating this, or they're not drinking this. Or, even the fact that we think of body image typically in terms of weight. We know that body image doesn't discriminate. It can be, whether it's cross-culturally, based on gender or age or body parts, or even aging and just worrying about how many wrinkles we've got. We think of it generally in terms of weight, but it
could be your teeth if you're not, you're not happy with
anything. Yeah.
And who does tend to have body image issues, do you think?
Well, this is interesting because I think, again, typically we've thought of younger teenage girls going through typical adolescent years and comparing themselves to their friends as being probably the predominant group. But we're finding out more now that body image issues are affecting, particularly in the Western societies, although it is a cross-cultural issue, it's affecting everybody. The number of men that are reporting eating disorders or unhappiness with their body. If you have a look now, there's more men's magazines than there have been ever before, and they've always got a young, fit guy with a ripped six-pack on the front of them. We're noticing that it seems to be more and more prevalent. So it's constantly changing.
It can affect anyone, can't it?
Absolutely.
And I know that you've talked about, because you and I have talked, about body image together, and as a topic, and you think that it can actually be a distraction from other issues that people actually need to deal with. Can you explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. We need to, I suppose, look at body image concerns as an extension or somewhere on the anxiety spectrum. That doesn't mean that if you're worried about your body that you've got anxiety. We're not saying that. But basically, body image concerns are based on the belief that other people are judging you negatively based on your body type. So that fear and that concern about how other people might be judging you, whether it's real or whether it's what you believe to be real, is really what causes it. And certainly, or probably the clearest example of that is a client that I had many years ago that had suffered with what she'd believed to be body image issues her whole life. Mm-hmm. She became quite overweight, as quite often is the case as people's weight fluctuates, and she went and got lap band surgery. So through a period of about 2 or 3 years, she lost a dramatic amount of weight. It was somewhere between about 30 and 40 kilos. And what actually came up during that period was that there was nothing between her and her emotions. So as the weight started to fall off, she physically could not eat during times of distress. So the lap band prevents people from eating, for those who are not familiar. So what actually came out of this was medicating oneself with food, or feeling like all of the issues that one was facing or all the problems in one's life were due to simply their weight.
Yeah.
In fact, the lap band revealed that this was not the case at all. So during those times that she sat there and all of these uncomfortable feelings came up, she couldn't eat. So she was forced to deal with them. So what actually came out of this was there was some depression and there was some anxiety, but by being able to treat them, we were treating really the issue. So quite often, body image concerns are a consequence of other issues. They're a consequence of perhaps some anxious or depressive or even stressful symptoms or something that comes up, and we're focusing our attention on the wrong thing. We're focusing it on the consequence and saying, well, if I just lost 5 or 10 kilos, or if my ankles were a bit slimmer, I'd be really happy. Whereas in fact, that's not really the concern at all, or not really what's going to be remedied.
So a lot of the time, people are so frozen in the if I had this, I would be happy, and it's causing them so much distress because they're not a size 8, or they don't have big enough boobs, or whatever it is for them.
Yeah.
But the reality is when if they reach whatever that goal is, it actually doesn't mean they're going to be any happier.
Absolutely not. And I think it's very easy for us, particularly when we're growing up, to feel like if we just look like the most beautiful, popular girl in the school, if we woke up the next day looking like that, all of the problems in our life would disappear. And we'd meet the partner of our dreams, and we'd be happy, and we could walk around confidently in whatever we're wearing, and we'd never have any other issue. And that's probably one of the biggest concerns, is the fact that it's very easy to feel like every issue that we face in life is because of our body. And sometimes that in itself is a bit of an unconscious mechanism to stop self-reflection, or we're not really dealing with what the issue is. We've kind of got, in some ways, almost something to blame. And I don't think that anybody does that intentionally. I think that it's very easy to attribute success and happiness to people that are beautiful.
And so if people are going through having body image issues or insecurities, what can they do about it? What where do they even begin?
Well, what a great question. and it's even hard to know where to begin with the response. I would say the very first thing for all listeners is to work out what is important to you. What are your values? Because I don't think anybody ever sat on their deathbed and said, gee, I wish I was 5 kilos less in this life, or gee, I wish I was thinner.
Yeah.
I think looking at what is the most important thing to you, and the vast majority of people in life will say relationships and loved ones, feeling connected and feeling close to people. Living true to your values is really the best way to have happiness and contentness. I think along with that, we need to accept that life is always going to throw us a few things. There's always going to be a few curveballs. And so when we talk about acceptance, I think that that's something that's often misunderstood. So I think a lot of people think acceptance is, I need to look in the mirror and accept my body as it is. In fact, acceptance, as you and I have discussed in the past, is really allowing yourself to feel a bit of discomfort and sitting with some discomfort till it's comfortable, basically.
Well, knowing that you are at times in life going to feel uncomfortable, and feeling okay about that. Yeah, because I think what people think is that I do a meditation course, I go to yoga, I lose the weight or whatever. That okay, my life's perfect now. Everything's going to be fine. Yeah. But the reality is that we both know is that there are going to be times that maybe there's going to be better looking people in the room, or you're going to not feel as intelligent, or you're going to feel not as secure in yourself in some way. It happens to everyone, and what we need to be able to do is sit with that discomfort, rather than looking for our coping mechanisms that people put in place and think I need more Botox, or I need whatever. Yeah.
It's Fiona here. There's the other level that as women have babies, their body totally changes.
Of course.
We have to accept that we're not going to have our 17 or 22-year-old body forever.
Absolutely.
And feel great with our body for our age where we are. Look after ourselves, feel good about ourselves, and kind of start to feel ourselves from the inside out. Like, you're only going to learn to feel good, not with what you see in the mirror, but you've got to feel good on the inside.
Absolutely. And I think I certainly remember growing up being being unhappy with my body and being told, you have to love yourself first before anybody loves you. And I thought, but how can I love myself when I'm not acceptable? Mm-hmm. So part of that, I think, is, or what for me, a lot of it was, and I use the term compare and despair. I can remember in high school, everyone comparing themselves to everybody else. So, that's a good place to start. If you find yourself comparing yourself constantly to other women, not only are you comparing yourself, you're comparing apples and oranges, but really what we're doing is saying that the whole totality of our self-worth is based on the vessel that we're in. There's more to you than just your body. If you feel that your whole day and your happiness is dictated by the numbers on a scale, or how much overhang there is over your pants, or whether or not you feel like the most attractive person in the room, it's kind of a recipe for disaster. So a lot of this is also based on having an identity that's quite broad, that's made up of multiple parts. We've all got multiple roles. I know we're all women here, but we're somebody's daughter, we're somebody's sister, we're somebody's partner, probably, we're somebody's friend. We all have things that we do outside of this, and taking solace and happiness and also being grateful for the fact that, we have the capacity to do all of these things. Gratitude's a really big one. Keeps us present and stops us worrying. At the end of the day, we are still going to have those moments. There's still going to be times when we walk into a room and think, wow, I don't feel like the most attractive person here. Stepping back from that and realising that's just a thought. It's not a fact. It's just a thought, recognising it for what it is and being able to step outside it and come back to the here and now, being outside of your head and outside of those beliefs is really a good place to start. I'm probably simplifying things, but if I can give anybody anything...
Hey, this is Simply Wellbeing. We like simple around here.
I think that's a really great advice, and people do want to see you clinically, because I know you see people for, you know, any kind of condition, anxiety, depression or relationship. Where can they find more information about you?
They can shoot me an email. I am Medicare registered at RebeccaSiegelConsulting@gmail.com. Rebecca, REBECCA, and Siegel is SIEGEL, consulting@gmail.com.